Hello everybody, I am back. I have taken a short break because I've been a little bit super busy, and I have also been a little bit allergy-y. Something I hadn't had since the US has come back. Now I have these unproductive coughs again. Hopefully it's just pollen. I will talk to an allergist once school allows me the freedom to do so. But until then, I'm just gonna have to deal with it. Anyway, something that has come up recently in my personal and professional life is the appreciation of pop culture and how one can feel betrayed by it. There are numerous literary theories about this, and the two most important are death of the author and word of God. The idea of these things is pretty simple. Death of the author means that it doesn't matter what the author was trying to say, it matters what the audience gets out of it. And word of God is the idea that the author created the world and therefore has last say on everything in the world. So death of the author would say that the work stands on its own and whatever you got out of it is what's true. So if you watched a movie and were like, man, that guy must have been a white supremacist, then that guy was a white supremacist. Or, man, that guy must have been gay. Well, then, in death of the author, it doesn't matter what the author thinks. It matters what you, the audience, get out of it. But with word of God, the author's allowed to tell you things about the world long after the work is over. So this most recent, hubbub about, oh, she changed Dumbledore to make him gay or whatever. If you ascribe to the word of God camp, that's her right. She created the world. You didn't. You get to enjoy it. But whatever she says goes. Whatever she says is the truth is the truth. So, according to word of God, you can suck it. According to death of the author, it doesn't matter what she says. What you experience is all that matters, and what the author says has no meaning whatsoever. Unless she writes another book, and then you can criticize that book. But with the recent Endgame and Game of Thrones and Pikachu, Detective Pikachu and all that sort of stuff, and I'm not going to spoil any of those things, but in those things, fans feeling tremendously betrayed are, I don't know, I guess when I was a kid, we did not have any of these things. Our comic book movies, our video game movies, they were all trash. They were garbage. They were, even the kindest of people would call them kinda okay. It was interesting to see the characters in the video game on the screen. But for the most part, they were garbage. They were trash. So, since I grew up in a time period when there were all these wastelands and we didn't have good things, my generation made up good things about the things that we were playing with. So when we were playing with G.I. Joes, we made up the stories that would later become the movies of G.I. Joe. When we were playing with My Little Ponies, we made up the cartoon that would become, this is literally the truth, that would become the new My Little Pony. So a lot of the things that you get that were around when I was a kid, it's because we loved them so much that we made up our own stories with the same characters, including their dippy names. And She-Ra, the new She-Ra animated thing, is a perfect example. Kept the same incredibly lame dippy names, but has a new story that makes way more sense than the original story because it's been headcanoned. Anyway, so it's one of those things where it feels like to me when people are like, it's so awful, it's just a waste of my time, I wasted years. Well, you didn't waste years. You enjoyed years. You just wasted a couple of episodes. Maybe. If even that. Because the other thing about something that was created by somebody else is that we kind of have to be happy with what we get. And if being angry makes you happy, cool. That's your thing, do that. Enjoy it. But if you genuinely think that the creators destroyed it or ruined it or something, they can't. They can't ruin it. Honestly, especially with Game of Thrones, if you think about it, it's an adaptation. It's not even the real story. The real story is books. that haven't been written yet. So even if we know some of the points, it went way too fast. So yeah, maybe we don't enjoy it. Maybe it's not the best thing we've ever seen. Maybe it went too fast. Maybe you feel like it wasted some of the goodwill that it had. And that makes sense, if that's how it works for you. If you are frustrated by it, that's your prerogative. You are the audience, you are the enjoyer. But it also means that sometimes in beautiful, amazing, wonderful things, there are going to be things either that we don't like, or that we don't think are handled well, or we don't think are cast well, or that we don't think the character would do. And when it's an issue of inconsistency, or when you're talking to your nerdy friends about your nerdy pursuits, then yeah, talk about the problems and the details and stuff like that. I guess the problem for me is there's so many people who are not sword and sorcery fans, who are not readers of books, who are not, this is the first thing with dragons and wizards that they got into. And they're like, oh, this doesn't make any damn sense. Well, it didn't make any sense when you started either, because you didn't know the source material. This is all based on something you've never read. So it's just super weird to me that people feel betrayed by it, because it's a gift. It's a beautiful gift. And it's not like some of those DC Universe movies where it was genuinely not good. It just didn't go how people wanted it to. And even some people who were upset about the individual details and how it was revealed and how the pacing was, yes, those are all legitimate complaints. But at the same time, let's not be hyperbolic. It didn't ruin 10 years of your life. It didn't waste all that time, because you had a great time for at least a few of those years. So it's not wasted. It's just didn't end the way you wanted it to. And just like with How I Met Your Mother, and just like with Lost, and just like with any number of other shows, the ending doesn't ruin the series. It just makes it mean something a little different than you wanted it to. Speaking of, I think the end of How I Met Your Mother is incredibly underrated as a postmodern story, and reveals that we don't always get what we thought we wanted. Sometimes we get something else. And if you think that the end of How I Met Your Mother ruined it, then you probably have an idealized view of relationships and haven't been in that many of them. There might be other reasons. That's just my assumption, based on this singular detail. Anyway, I hope you are all well. Summer can't come soon enough, although it is already 24 today, which is 75 in American units. So, yeah, it's warm outside. I hope you are all well. Bye. Beep boop. Beep boop bop.